Israel, Western allies' barbarism in Gaza. Stand with Palestine rally draws strong support from Malaysians. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're with me, Brendan Lepol, in World Today. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim revealed that he had received multiple threats from Western countries following Malaysia's firm stand, support and commitment in defending the rights of the Palestinian people, as well as criticism levelled against the Israeli government. However, the Prime Minister stressed that as the head of the government, he would not succumb to or be intimidated by such threats. He added, as a sovereign nation, Malaysia will remain independent and continue to defend the country's freedom as well as advocate the freedom of the Palestinian people.
Saya dikritik sekarang. Mula diserang oleh beberapa kalangan Eropah, Amerika Syarikat dan tentunya Israel. Dan kita harus waspada. Saya beritahu, selagi saya diberi mandat oleh rakyat, saya tidak terima ugutan itu. Kita lawan tetap. Kami tahu. Don't ever think of threatening us. Malaysia is a fiercely independent country. We decide what is right. We understand the meaning of freedom. We are with the Palestinian people in their struggle.
The Prime Minister said this at the Malaysia Stands with Palestine rally held in Bukit Jalil and attended by about 16,000 supporters last night. The Prime Minister also criticized the United States' biased stance condemning Russia regarding the Ukraine issue but supporting Israel in the Palestinian invasion. He pointed out that Israel's arrogance, fueled by support from the United States and Europe, led to horrific acts such as intentional killing of infants during attacks on hospitals and schools.
Israel langgar Palestin. Hukum apa ini? Ya, ini hukum rimba. It's the law of the jungle. It is the level of insanity to allow people to be butchered, babies to be killed, hospitals to be bombed, and schools to be destroyed. This is the height of barbarism in this world.
The Prime Minister also conveyed the deep appreciation expressed by Arab nations such as Qatar, Bahrain and Egypt for Malaysia's efforts in addressing the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Datuk Seri Anwar said, however, most Islamic leaders whom he had recently met acknowledged the difficulty in resolving the Palestinian conflict. Meanwhile, the White Ocean wave at the Malaysia Stands with Palestine rally last night showed Malaysia's loud, strong and consistent stance in condemning the atrocities of the Zionist regime of Israel against the Palestinians. Despite the rain, participants clad in white shirts and donning muffler with a Palestinian motif started gathering at the stadium ground since 5 p.m, although they could only enter the stadium at 6:30 p.m. The crowd also waved the Palestinian flag, chanted takbir, and words like "Long live Palestine" and "Free Palestine." Several Palestinians met at the gathering expressed their appreciation for the solid support of the Malaysian people for Palestine.
I'm very grateful that Malaysians are supporting Palestine. We're going through very hard times over there. We need this support. We need every voice we have to support Palestine. And that's very humane of them to have this humanity and courage to come out and speak and show their support. Really appreciate it.
In these difficult times, especially for the Palestinian people, it's very important that they don't feel that they are left alone. So it's very important for Muslims from all around the world to come together to show their support for Palestine, to show our solidarity with Palestine and the people of Gaza.
I think that the gathering that is happening here today is a great show of solidarity As my friend over here has already said, these gatherings are of great importance because they show the people of Gaza that they are not left alone. But I think that furthermore we should not only be standing here, but we should embody other means of resistance, like boycotting brands, national brands that are eventually leading or supporting the Israeli economy.
The gathering, organised by Angkatan Belia Malaysia (ABIM), Global Peace Malaysia (GPM), and Malaysian Humanitarian Aid and Relief, also involved more than 40 non-governmental organisations. And meantime, more than 700 Palestinians were killed in overnight Israeli air raids on Gaza, the highest 24-hour death toll since Israel began bombarding the besieged territory earlier this month. The Israeli military said on Tuesday it had hit more than 400 Hamas targets and claimed that they killed dozens of Hamas fighters in the attacks. The health ministry in Gaza, which is governed by Hamas, has said at least 5,791 Palestinians, including 2,360 children, have been killed in the Israeli assaults. A total of 704 people were killed in the previous 24 hours alone. Ministry spokesman Ashraf Al-Qidra said it was the highest 24-hour number of deaths in the 2 weeks of Israeli bombing. Witnesses and health officials said many of the air raids hit residential buildings, some of them in southern Gaza, where Israel had told civilians to take shelter. One overnight attack leveled a 4-story residential building in the southern city of Khan Yunis, killing at least 32 people and wounding dozens of others. In addition to bombarding the territory, Israel has cut access to food, water, medicine and fuel in a complete siege. And meanwhile, Israel said it will not allow fuel to enter Gaza. Its military spokesperson, Daniel Hajari, accused Hamas had used fuel for its military infrastructure. He also accused Hamas of stealing supplies from the United Nations Relief Agency and demanded it to be returned and used to power hospitals. All hospitals in Gaza said they are running out of fuel to power their electricity generators, leaving them increasingly unable to treat the injured and ill. More than 40 medical centers have halted their operations. Meanwhile, the United Nations said 20 trucks that had been due to deliver aid to Gaza via the Rafah crossing from Egypt on Tuesday had not entered the enclave. No reason was given, but the UN said it hoped the convoy would get into Gaza on Wednesday. The aid is desperately needed as supplies of food, water, medicines and fuel have been running critically low for Gaza's 2.3 million people since Israel began its bombardment and total siege of the Palestinian enclave. In another development, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday alleged violations of international law in Gaza and urged an immediate ceasefire. Opening the session, Guterres expressed concern about the clear violations of international humanitarian law that are happening in Gaza, adding, no party to an armed conflict is above international humanitarian law. Guterres also said that the Hamas attacks did not happen in a vacuum, as the Palestinians have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation.
They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
His remarks infuriated Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen, who, pointing his finger at Guterres and raising his voice, recounted graphic accounts of civilians in the deadliest single attack in Israeli history. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, called on Guterres to resign, writing on X that the UN chief has expressed an understanding for terrorism and murder. Meanwhile, Hamas official Osama Hamdan urged Arab, Islamic countries and the United Nations to try to halt Israel's assault on Gaza in a press conference held in Beirut.
وإننا إزاء جرائم الاحتلال وحرب الإبادة التي يرتكبها لندعو الدول العربية والإسلامية والأمم المتحدة إلى ما يلي: 1. ندعوهم إلى تحمل مسؤولياتهم السياسية والأخلاقية باتخاذ مواقف فاعلة وعاجلة لوقف العدوان وجرائم الاحتلال ومجازره المتصاعدة ضد الأطفال والمدنيين العزل، والتي تنتهك كافة الأعراف والقوانين الدولية.
Hamdan also called on Arab countries to end any normalization of diplomatic relations with Israel. The official called for humanitarian aid crossings to be open, allowing fuel, aid, and rubble removal equipment into Gaza. After a quick break, and when we come back, scientists unveiled the recreation of sacrifice Inca maiden. Stay tuned.
Beli!
Betul lah, Shopee ada penghantaran percuma.
Kenapa bayar kalau dapat penghantaran percuma di Shopee? Beli sekarang di Shopee.
Welcome back. You're watching World Today. A Pakistan High Court granted bail to three-time Prime Minister and graft convict Nawaz Sharif after he returned from exile with a bid to clear his name and contest elections due early next year. Islamabad High Court, where Sharif is appealing two convictions, extended his bail until Thursday. Earlier in the day, his bail in a separate case was confirmed at a graft court in the capital. Last week, Sharif was granted protective bail in all cases, paving the way for his homecoming without the threat of arrest. Analysts say his return was likely smoothed by a deal with a powerful military establishment. Sharif's return has been touted for months by his party, which hopes his political clout and man of the soil swagger will revive its flagging popularity. Sharif has been Prime Minister 3 times but has never completed a full term due to his platonic relationship with the military. Scientists from Peru and Poland unveiled the face of a girl sacrificed more than 500 years ago during the Inca Empire and whose mummified remains were found near a volcano in the Peruvian Andes nearly 3 decades ago. Using three-dimensional technology, experts reconstructed the face of the girl believed to be between 14 and 15 years of age. Scientists from the Catholic University of Santa Maria and the University of Warsaw in Poland unveiled the reconstructed face after 20 years of analyzing the skull and body of the mummy, known as the Lady of Ampato. According to research, the girl would have been sacrificed during the Inca Empire as an offering to the gods to ask them to stop natural disasters such as droughts, floods, volcano eruptions, or plagues.
La tomografia della mummia fu fatta 2 vezes, uno en Estados Unidos y la segunda en Arequipa, y fue descubrir que la Juanita fue matar por golpe en la cabeza. Y podemos ver en la escanos de tomografía que la cabeza fue rompida por un golpe muy fuerte.
Her frozen body was discovered in 1995 at 6,400 meters above sea level in the Cayoma province of the Arequipa region, about 1,000 kilometers south of Lima. Hurricane Otis rapidly strengthened to a major Category 3 storm as it headed towards Mexico's southern Pacific coast. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said Otis is expected to be an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane when the center reaches the coast by early Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds increased to near 200 kilometers per hour, which put Otis in the 3rd highest category on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale. The storm's center was located 115 miles from the beach resort of Acapulco, and a hurricane warning was in effect for coastline from Punta Maldonado and Zihuatanejo. Rainfall of up to 38 centimeters was expected in the southern state of Guerrero and parts of the neighboring Oaxaca. Suspected paramilitary militia members torched 35 buses and a train driver's cabin in Rio de Janeiro, paralyzing parts of the scenic Brazilian city after one of their leaders was killed in a police operation. The chaotic scenes erupted after an operation that State Governor Claudio Castro killed the nephew and right-hand man of militia boss known as Zinho. Lee subsequently arrested 12 people for suspected terrorist actions, and City Hall declared a level 3 alert on its 5-level scale, warning residents and tourists of possible high-impact incidents. Public Bus Operators Association Rio Onibus said 35 buses had been set on fire, the most in a single day in the city's history. They included 5 buses used on special rapid transit lines launched for the Rio Olympics in 2016. The Super VR Train Operators Organization said a train cab was also set on fire after the driver was ordered out. Public transport in the city was partly suspended. Honduras extradites drug lord Erasmo Avila, known as El Monstruo, to the United States at the request of the Eastern District Court of Virginia. Alias the Monster, he is the 38 Honduran who is extradited to the United States. On January 2020, an arrest warrant was issued against him for storage of weapons, for which he currently maintains a provisional release letter. Since 2014, 38 people have been extradited from Honduras to the United States, most notably former President Juan Rolando Hernandez, accused of facilitating the smuggling of 500 tons of cocaine in exchange for millions of dollars in bribes. Bolivian firefighters and volunteers continue to battle the fires raging in the forest close to Madidi National Park, a protected area in northwestern Bolivia that includes part of the Bolivian Amazon. According to a government report, there are 16 active forest fires in 4 departments of Bolivia, with the La Paz region having the most significant affected areas. Locals said that the fire has consumed extensive crops and is approaching Madidi National Park, one of the country's most important biodiversity reserves. Helicopters have been deployed to help firefighters and authorities on the ground. Firefighters battled the blaze caused by a gas explosion at Madrid's University district, forcing a dorm to be evacuated but leaving no injuries. Emergency services surrounded the area and blocked some streets due to the huge flames. One of the buildings of Complutense University was also evacuated. Complutense's Vice-Chancellor, Jose Maria Coelho, said university psychologists were providing help in the area and that they organized accommodation for evacuated students. A famed Paris museum will be reinstalling a waxwork of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with a more true-to-life look after the US actor complained about its pale skin tone. Johnson, who is of Samoan and black origin, took to Instagram this weekend to joke about the Grevin Museum's wax figure, which appeared to depict him with white skin and bears only a vague likeness to his features. The museum worked for more than a year on the character of Dwayne Johnson, in particular to reproduce his very complicated tattoos using photos because Dwayne could not travel to Paris to finalize his waxwork. Moving on to sports, Onana's at-a-time penalty save gives United crucial win. Stay tuned. We begin with football. In Champions League, Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus scored goals either side of halftime as Arsenal completed a 2-1 Champions League victory at Sevilla. It was a hard-fought win for Arsenal that takes them to the top of Group B at the midway point of the pool stage. Martinelli scored the opening goal late in the first half of the game. He raced clear from Jesus' clever pass and rounded the goalkeeper before scoring. Sevilla had 2 chances in the opening half when Lucas Ocampos poked wide from Jesus Navas's cross and Youssef En-Nesyri pulled his shot across goal and off target when well placed. Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard fired over the bar early in the second period, but the London side did manage a second goal on 53 minutes. Jesus called in a shot from a narrow angle to keep up his record of having scored in every Champions League group game so far this season. The visitors needed that insurance goal too, as Sevilla pulled one back 5 minutes later when Gude hit it home from a corner. The home side had several chances to score again, but some scrambling defense and a late miss from Ocampos allowed Arsenal to hold on. And meanwhile, in the theatre of dreams, Harry Maguire headed a second-half goal and goalkeeper Andre Onana saved a penalty deep in stoppage time to power Manchester United to a 1-0 victory over FC Copenhagen this morning for their first points in the Champions League this season. Back in the competition after a 1-year absence, Erik ten Hag's side moved into third place in Group A after collecting a precious 3 points after 3 games. Maguire broke the deadlock in the 72nd minute after Christian Eriksen's long ball into the area found the defender at the far post. The victory looked in doubt when Copenhagen's Jordan Larsen stepped up to the spot after Scott McTominay attempted a clearance and caught Elias Achuri in the head with a high boot in the 94th minute. But Onana dived to his left to push the shot away before being mobbed by teammates at the final whistle. The victory was United's first in the Champions League since a 2-0 away win at Villarreal on 23rd November 2021. United will travel to Copenhagen on 8th November for the return leg. In Portugal, Rodrigo and Jude Bellingham scored in each half to secure a 2-1 win at Sporting Braga and keeping their side 3 points clear atop Champions League Group C. The Spanish Giants dominated from the start and opened the scoring in the 16th minute with a close-range strike by Rodrigo. Wasteful Madrid missed several chances to extend their lead, but they managed to score again in the 61st when Bellingham, who, from the edge of the box, slotted an effortless curling strike just inside the far post. It was Bellingham's 10th goal in 11 games in all competitions this season. Braga did pull one back when Alvaro Halo took advantage of a defensive mistake in the 63rd to score in the area, but Madrid held on to put their side at the top on 9 points. And elsewhere, Bayern Munich soaked up intense pressure from Galatasaray for more than 70 minutes before striking twice to carve out a 3-1 victory. The Turks, brimming with confidence from their win at Manchester United in the previous matchday, showed no signs of nerves against their more illustrious opponents. However, Kingsley Coman silenced the fiery home crowd with the opening goal in the 8th minute. Galatasaray continued to apply pressure and it paid off in the 30th when Icardi was brought down in the box. The Argentine coolly chipped his Panenka-style penalty into the middle of the goal. Bayern grew in confidence with Kane slotted the second goal for the visitors in the 73rd. With the victory, Bayern topped their group on 9 points, with Galatasaray in second on 4. And in tennis, Grigor Dimitrov downed Lorenzo Musetti 6-3, 6-4 in the opening round of the Vienna Open. Fresh off a semi-final run at the Shanghai Masters, where the Bulgarian knocked out world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz, Dimitrov continued his impressive form with a comprehensive straight sets victory over the Italian in just over 90 minutes. Dimitrov earned his first break in the 4th game to take a 4-1 lead. Musetti saved 2 break points to hold serve in the 6th game for 2-4. Dimitrov fended off a break back point in the 10th game. Musetti saved 2 break points in the 3rd game to hold serve at deuce for 2-1, but he was not able to convert a break point in the 5th game. Dimitrov earned the break in the 9th game before sealing the win on his first match point. The Bulgarian will face the winner of top seed Daniil Medvedev's first round tie against French teenager Arthur Fils. Also progressing into round 2 was Stefanos Tsitsipas, who knocked out Dominic Thiem. The Greek 4th seed took 2 hours to defeat the Austrian 7-6, 6-4. Tsitsipas clinched the first set of narrow margins by rallying from a 2-4 in the tiebreak before a decisive break in the 3rd game of the 2nd set. Proved enough for him to book a second round clash with Thomas Mahach.
7-6, 6-4. Perlawanan bola sepak Liga Super 2023. Memburu dominasi di puncak Liga. Serangan terus diledakkan, memecah kebuntuan di setiap perlawanan.
Tiada masalah bagi Romeo Morales meletakkan Kuala Lumpur City di depan.
Jumaat Jumaat 27 Oktober, PDRM FC bertemu Kuala Lumpur City FC 7.45 malam di saluran OK dan saluran sukan RTM. Saksikan juga secara penstriman langsung di RTM Klik.
76 minit tanpa henti.
76 minutes non-stop. Transparent and concise.
Paparan komprehensif, ringkas dan padat. Saksikan Kanta 744, 7.44 malam. Berita perdana 8 malam.
Malaysia tonight, 8:30 p.m. And wrapping up our bulletin this afternoon with a reminder of our top story. Prime Minister rallies to condemn Israel, Western allies' barbarism in Gaza and reaffirms commitment to the people of Palestine. Do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. for more on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. Now, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Brendan Paul, Malaysia Madani, Tekap Perpaduan, Penuhi Harapan. Take care.